In a previous video, we explained how ships slow down without brakes. During normal navigation, a ship's crew plans the route ahead and only changes the ship's speed gradually by altering the speed of the main engine. When the ship suddenly needs to stop or slow down, they use maneuvering techniques such as rudder cycling, which involves repeatedly changing the rudder angle to increase hydrodynamic resistance that slows down the ship. But what if an unexpected obstacle, like another ship or an iceberg, appears? How does a ship stop in such emergencies? Well, depending on the situation, the crew can still use these slow-down maneuvers to stop the ship safely, but they always have the option to apply an emergency brake known as the crash stop. In the era of paddle steamers, performing a crash stop meant reversing the side wheel. When the wheel spins in reverse, it pushes water forward instead of backward, quickly reducing the ship's speed and bringing it to a stop. It sounds pretty straightforward, but ironically, it involves stopping and restarting the steam engine itself to rotate in the opposite direction. This is possible thanks to the way a steam engine works. Water is boiled to produce high-pressure steam, which pushes a piston up and down. This reciprocating motion is converted into rotary motion via a connecting rod and crankshaft. The same mechanism works in reverse rotation as well. This reverse operation is useful not just in emergencies, but also when moving astern, especially during docking and undocking. The same principle applies even after paddle wheels were replaced by screw propellers. When rotated in the opposite direction, a propeller pushes water forward instead of backward, generating reverse thrust. As ships grew larger, the engine room and bridge became farther apart, making communication between these two departments more challenging. To solve this, the engine order telegraph system was invented. It includes a round dial with a pointer and a hub at the center attached to a handle. The dial displays various engine speeds such as slow, half, or full for both ahead and astern directions, with stop and standby typically positioned in the center. When the captain wants to reduce speed, he moves the handle to a lower setting on the dial. This change is mirrored by the pointer on a similar dial in the engine room and triggers a bell to alert the engineers. Upon seeing this, an engineer matches the handle to the same position to confirm the order to the bridge. In an emergency, if a crash stop is needed, the captain moves the handle to full astern 3 times, causing the bell to ring longer and alerting the engineers to the urgency. Older ships had 3 engines, while 2 side engines were reciprocating types. The central and most powerful one was a steam turbine. Unlike reciprocating engines, steam turbines operate by channeling high-pressure steam through turbine blades, which are designed to rotate in one direction. Due to this, the turbine couldn't be reversed. Despite their limitations, steam turbines remained popular in the marine industry for decades due to their superior efficiency over reciprocating engines. For ships that only use steam turbine engines, additional turbines were installed to the rear on the same shaft to enable reversing. These extra mechanisms remain idle when the ship moves forward. When a stern operation is requested from the bridge, steam is redirected from the main turbines to the astern, which then rotate the shaft in the opposite direction. However, since astern turbines are smaller and less powerful than the main ones, full astern technically doesn't mean full power of the engine is applied to generate reverse thrust. That changed when diesel engines became the primary type of engine for most ships. For a lot of diesel engines, since the engine's rotation is faster than the propeller can handle, a speed reduction gearbox is installed between the engine and the propeller. The reversing function is usually built into this gearbox, allowing the propeller to reverse without changing the engine's rotation. However, There are many diesel engines, especially larger ones, that don't use gearboxes. These engines are designed to operate at very low speeds, allowing them to drive the propeller directly. This direct drive setup is more efficient than using a high-speed engine with a gearbox, as the gearbox introduces energy losses. But it means engineers must restart the engine in the opposite direction when an astern order is given, just like in the old days. In an emergency, this heavy reliance on human action is risky. There's also the chance the engine might fail to restart after stopping. Switching the rotation of a large marine engine also takes time, especially in an emergency when it's needed to go from full ahead to full astern. And even if successful, the operation puts significant stress on the propulsion system as it must counter the full momentum of a massive ship moving forward. Another challenge with going astern is that a propeller's reverse thrust is weaker than its forward thrust. This is because screw propellers are optimized for efficient forward motion, not reverse. If you look at the blade, it's not symmetrical. The edge that cuts through the water is the leading edge, while the opposite is the trailing edge. In reverse, the propeller cuts water with the trailing edge, which reduces efficiency. For these reasons, a navigator might still decide to use a stopping maneuver with the rudder instead of going for a full astern crash stop, even in an emergency. But every ship has to show it can perform a crash stop during sea trials by law. This isn't optional. It's a regulatory requirement under the IMO's Standards for Ship Manoeuvrability, Resolution MSC.13776. This tests for what's called stopping ability, and it means that during a full astern stop test, the ship can't exceed 15 ship lengths. For ships that are bigger than that, the flag administration can adjust this limit, but it can't go over 20 ship lengths no matter what. The only way to overcome these limitations is by using a newer type of screw propeller called the Controllable Pitch Propeller, or CPP. The blades of this propeller can rotate at their base. This change in blade angle causes the water to be pushed forward instead of backward, which creates thrust in the opposite direction, allowing the ship to move astern without reversing the propeller's rotation. Each blade in a CPP is mounted in a way that lets it twist around its own axis, adjusting the angle it meets the water. This angle is called the pitch. Inside the propeller hub, a hydraulic system rotates all the blades at once, allowing the crew to shift from forward to reverse thrust without stopping the engine. What's clever here is that the leading and trailing edges of the blade don't switch places. The blade's shape stays the same, but when the pitch is reversed, water flows from the opposite direction, effectively hitting the wrong side of the blade. The CPP dramatically improves a ship's safety and manoeuvrability by allowing instant acceleration in both directions through blade angle adjustments, without interrupting the rotation of the propulsion system. After its invention, traditional screw propellers became known as fixed pitch propellers, or FPPs. CPPs aren't just useful for going astern. Their blade angles can also be adjusted to match the ship's load and desired speed for better efficiency. However, most cargo ships travel at a steady forward speed for most of their voyages and don't need frequent speed changes or sudden reversals. Traditional fixed propellers can be better optimized for this constant speed, long-distance travel. They are also lighter, cheaper, and more durable than CPPs due to their simpler design. In terms of fuel efficiency, the combination of a slow-speed, direct-drive diesel engine and a fixed propeller remains unmatched, though reversing is a major challenge. That could change if propeller technology advances enough to produce more efficient and cost-effective CPPs that let any ship hit the brakes whenever they want. Until then, engineers must continue the tedious job of restarting the main engine whenever the bridge calls for full astern. Thank you to our wonderful supporters over on Patreon. Your ongoing support means that we can keep this ship sailing. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and ringing that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video.